Hi everyone, James here with a review of Transformers Robots in Disguise Warrior Class Fracture. Now, I have to say, in vehicle mode, this guy is very impressive, and not only that, this was a very accidental buy. Oops. What I mean by that is, I recently went into my local Kmart in the expectation of getting some Combiner Wars figures. Unfortunately, I was unlucky in that department. However, I noticed this guy simply just sitting on a shelf all by himself, so I leapt at the opportunity to get him, and I've been very impressed with him ever since. Now, unfortunately, I'm not very good with my motorbikes. However, Fracture's bike form is very impressive. Reminds me a lot of the Transformers animated oil slick figure. Yeah. Now, as for Fracture's color scheme, he has purple, red, silver, and black. And unfortunately, I actually take issue with the main color, purple. Now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against the color purple, and especially with Transformers Prime Megatron, there was just an even a balance between silver and purple, so as to be able to get across a very good or a very interesting design. Unfortunately, so much purple is used on Fracture. Excuse me. So much is used on Fracture that it kind of takes away a little bit of a little bit of a fun factor in it, if that makes any sense. Ultimately, don't get me wrong, many of the red highlights that are seen throughout the figure, I think are very impressive. It finally means that a lot of the, say, bright blue, red, or purple highlights that we saw in Transformers Prime are finally being carried over into the toys, so that is great. And in particular, there are some great silver highlights throughout the figure. Unfortunately, with the purple being the most dominant, it is a little bit of a dull color in places. Some of it has a nice, actually let me focus in. Unfortunately, the camera's acting up a little bit, and oh, there we are. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, now some of the paint actually has a little bit of a metallic sheen to it, and that's actually, of course, hoping I don't drop it. Now, some of the paint has a little bit of a metallic sheen to it, and that's pretty nice. Unfortunately, you move across to, kind of dull purples throughout the entire figure, and that ultimately takes away a little bit of the fun. So, now, like many bikes that we've gotten, you got a little kickstand. The front wheel is able to pivot from side to side, much like RID or Transformers Prime RC. So ultimately, as thanks to both, you can actually pose the bike in some pretty nice poses. Now, something else you get with Fracture is his main weapon. Now, this is actually a very large gun. Now, in vehicle mode, or if you just want to store it away, it actually clips in together, or folds and then clips together, so as to save some space. But in robot mode, it folds out, clips together, and you get one giant blaster with it. Now I admit it actually probably looks a bit bigger than I'm portraying it. But I suppose Hasbro's motto is, if not, why not? Now, I definitely will say this. I actually quite like the design of the gun. It's very unique, and I deeply appreciate anything that is unique. So ultimately, I really do like the gun. Now, thus far, I've only been posing the figure with this tab, or sorry, when the figure's in robot mode, I really only I get the figure to hold the gun via this tab, but I haven't really experimented with this tab yet. I'm not even sure if it is a tab. What am I saying? Sorry. No, but overall, very nice gun. A lot of red highlights towards the barrel of the gun, so that's pretty nice. So, putting the gun aside, I think I've covered just about everything about the bike. Aside from the fact that it rolls pretty nice, I think that's it. So, I think it's safe to say that I've been stalling for long enough. It's time I got into the transformation. Hoping the camera will focus. There we go. So now the transformation isn't too bad. It's fairly simplistic, just providing that you're able to get through it all. So the first thing you do is, now I suppose this would be the fuel tank of the bike. What you basically do is you take this and you fold it, you basically untab it as you push up and push it towards this direction, where it will tab into place. As a result, as you push this up, this entire assembly will come with it. So as you push this back, it then tabs into place there. Then what you do is, taking the front wheel, there's actually a small tab right there. What you want to do is rotate the wheel so that way the tab is facing towards you. And then what you do is you fold the entire assembly down so that way that little tab tabs into this little hole here. Sorry, the little peg. Oh, what am I saying? So yeah, that's the first part done. Next thing I want to do is the legs. Now, going to these two pointed black pieces at the back of the bike, these will actually be the legs, so you untap those, and they're actually stored via two little pegs at the bottom of the bike. So what you do is you fold these all the way out, fold out the feet, and then hit the legs down the middle. Now there's a little peg right in the middle, however it's unlike the circular ones that we saw up here. It's actually kind of a groove shape. Let me see if I can focus in. There we go. That's it right there. So what I like to do is, taking Fracture's left leg, I like to pull it forward. As a result, the legs will split and we have the legs. Hoping the camera focuses. There we go. Sorry, there seems to be a little bit of time delay in that. So, next thing you want to do are the arms. You basically go to the side, untap them, fold them out. Actually, I'll push the camera up for this. And then what you do is, this entire assembly here at the back of the bike, this basically splits right down the middle, and you fold this down as far as it'll go. Now, the shoulders can actually be posed in a variety of different ways, especially on these two hinges here in robot mode, but I would recommend keeping them down as far as possible, just for the transformation. As for the hands, get them out, and then they will click into place. There we go. So after that, now what's actually about to happen is there's a hinge in here, and this entire assembly will rotate to the back, so that way this is now facing that direction. Now, the best way to do this is this little piece you see here at the back. What you can actually do is push this down, and the entire assembly begins to follow. As a result, this will reveal the head and the chest plate. Now, after a while, you won't be able to push in on this anymore, so you simply just take the back assembly, push it out until it clicks into place. After which, you can merely pose the figure, and there we have Transformers Robots in Disguise Fracture in robot mode. And I have to say, this is a pretty nice looking figure in robot mode. In particular, I love the fact that the figure has both a very sleek but a very jagged design, especially in the shoulders. So ultimately that helps to create a very unique look for the figure, and unique, in my opinion, is thumbs up approved. Not only that, Fracture is the only Decepticon in, well, aside from Megatronus, he is the only Decepticon in Robots in Disguise not to have some sort of stupid animal-themed robot mode. Actually, I feel much better now. So, simply looking at the figure, again, a lot of the color scheme that we saw in vehicle mode has carried across. Nothing particularly new has been revealed, aside from the chest plate and the head. We were pretty much looking at the exact same, in fact, we're looking at the exact same stuff as we saw in vehicle mode, so ultimately a lot has remained unchanged. However, one thing I love especially about Fracture is actually the design of his head. If the camera would focus. Come on. Anyway, Yeah, unfortunately the camera's been acting up a little bit when it comes to focusing in. So I'm just gonna hope this works. And I'm not getting a lot of luck in this venture. But anyway, so actually that's pretty good. Now what I like about the head in particular is that it has a very sleek and now in comparison to his shoulders, which are very sharp and jagged looking, his head has a very sleek look to it. Now he has these, could you call these fins as that go over the top of his head? I actually quite like that little extra detail. Whoa, it's bright. Yikes. Sorry about that. Now I have to say the design is really impressive, and I actually quite like it. In particular, his red eyes really stand out. If the camera would do me a favor and focus, what is wrong with this thing? Well, anyway, the eyes are quite impressive, and as a result, I really like them. So yeah. Please focus, please focus. Yeah, that'll do. Again, sorry, I'm just getting frustrated with the focus. Anyway, in terms of articulation, Fracture has a pretty decent amount. His head he can look left and right. He can't do a full 360 because of these armaments, or these little sculpt or molded details here, and his very pointy chin. But I think he could be able to do about 270 maybe. The arms actually have a lot of articulation, as by the hinge where they rotate or come down from vehicle mode. They go up and down here. They rotate back and forth. They can go in and sorry. They can go in and out. They rotate at the bicep. You actually get about a good 90-degree bending elbow, and of course, given the transformation, the hands can pivot in and out. But unfortunately, you don't get much outside of that. No waist articulation. The legs can fold. They can go forward and back. They can go in and out. They can pivot They can pivot just below the hip. Now, obviously, because of the transformation, you actually can get quite a good knee bend. So that's pretty good. And the feet are able to pivot back and forth as due to the transformation as well. So as a result, at least hoping this works, so as a result of the leg articulation, you can actually get some really good poses out of Fracture. Of course, whilst he isn't holding any weapons, and if the camera would focus, yeah, I'm sorry. This is really getting on my nerves. But anyway, ignoring that. Now, coming back to the gun, now again, much like vehicle mode, you can actually tab it into his left arm, so that way he can kind of pull off a mirrored Megatron style, or Megatron appearance, where he shoots like that, of sorts. Sorry. Now removing this. Now, obviously, you can also tab it into his hands. And ultimately, I feel as though this is where Fracture is best suited, because whenever he's holding it like that, this guy is seriously intimidating. And if I saw this guy walking down the street, I would run like hell in the opposite direction. So, well, ultimately, I'm pretty impressed as to how this guy is. Now, with Robots in Disguise, many people are fairly mixed on it. Some people either might like or despise the TV series. I think it's a fairly same assumption for the toy line. Ultimately, I feel so Fracture isn't a bad investment. Again, I have my gripes about the purple color scheme, but truth be told, if I was to change that, maybe a metallic blue, I don't know. Honestly, I'm still just thinking. But aside from that, this is a pretty good figure. I mean, you get pretty good. You get pretty good articulation, great, some very nice details. I think now, personally speaking, coming from the perspective of a customizer, I think this would be the perfect subject for customizing. You know, there are a lot of details that are yet to be highlighted. You know, there is there is a lot of opportunity for experimenting with this guy. So ultimately, I think it's safe to say that if this guy was to get a rating out of 10, he'd probably get a 7.5 to an 8. Personally, that's me being nice, but it isn't a bad figure nonetheless. So ultimately, I think that's pretty much this review done. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, Knight/2020 Jr. Please subscribe to my friends Jack the Animator and Dreadwing2029. Links are in the description down below. Have a nice day, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye everyone.